Hello, guys. It's Adina. And right now, the podcast is on pause. I'm taking a pause from August through the end of September to focus on family time, travel, self-care, and to tweak a few things with the podcast. In the meantime, you may want to catch up on episodes 1 through 105 or re-listen to a few of your favorites. Don't forget to sign up for the Atheists in Recovery newsletter, and you can find the link in the show notes below. And we talk about many things in the newsletter, from my favorite books and movies and journal articles on all things related to the podcast. Sometimes they're not related, but also interesting things. We talk about journaling and relationships and how to nourish your soul. Or maybe you're interested in starting a journaling practice, and there are ways for you to do that by subscribing to the newsletter. Perhaps even liberating yourself from some of these defeating narratives. Journaling will help you do that as well. Okay, well, I will see you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Welcome to the Atheist in Recovery podcast, where we talk about finding hope in recovery. And now your host, Dr. Adina Silvestri.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 22 of the Atheists in Recovery podcast, When a Man Loves a Woman. So today starts our series on movies that move us. And I'm taking a little break from having guests on. Well, there might be one guest on in December, but the majority will be solo episodes this month as I prepare for other things in the business. And so just kind of taking a little reprieve from getting guests on, which is altogether a more labor intensive, although I love it. It's just more labor intensive. So we will be back with the guests starting right after the New Year's. Okay. So our first movie that we are going to review today is, as I said, When a Man Loves a Woman. Why this movie? You know, I loved this movie in that, to me, this was the first movie that talked about addiction and the impact that this disorder has on the family unit and what it means to be codependent and how the roles shift and how relationships shift as one moves through the progression of alcoholism and into sobriety. And so the first scene is when, it's a good one, very interesting, very kind of cliche, I guess, in a way, but you see Meg Ryan's character, Alice, sitting at a bar, and she is being hit on by some random guy, and then Andy Garcia, which is his character's name is Michael, jumps in and basically humiliates this guy in a very funny, light-hearted way, and then they end up making out. So you can see that there is affection and there is just chemistry and just like a lighthearted playfulness between the characters, which is just very apparent in scene one. Then you see the couple going on a trip. A lot of it is subtle drinking. Actually, even before they go on the trip, they go out for their wedding anniversary, and Alice is drinking too much. You can see it when they're on the dance floor. You could see it when they're leaving the house. I think she has a beer in her hand as she's leaving the house. So she's always holding a drink in those first couple of scenes. And so it just kind of reminded me of, you know, how subtly drinking can turn into something that you just weren't planning on. And we've talked about this in previous shows where, you know, no one plans on becoming an alcoholic. And so I thought they did a really good job of portraying the gradual habit forming addiction from the very beginning. So then we start with Michael just sort of rescuing her. There are many scenes in which Alice is drinking too much, and then she has a hangover the next day. I think one episode I'm thinking of specifically, or one scene specifically, is when Alice is trying to discipline her two daughters, and Michael comes in and says, I'll take care of it. Undermines everything Alice has done as far as parenting, and says, I think all you can handle right now is your cup of coffee and your little spoon, or, something like that. Again, just trying to take care of everything. You have a hangover. You can't handle much. I'm going to jump in and kind of save the day. And so that's those are the roles that are being cemented from the early on in the movie, where, Alice drinks too much, screws up. Michael comes in and saves the day. I think there's actually even one scene where she is taking out a bottle of vodka from a cabinet that she's hidden. She's hidden this bottle. She takes it out of the cabinet. It's like in the middle of the night, goes outside, is about to throw the bottle of vodka in the trash, and actually does so, but then immediately picks it up and gulps it down. I guess she needed one more drink before saying goodbye. And then she walks up to the house, but she's locked herself out. And so, nothing was really said. There was no follow up. She makes a wise joke after Michael opens the door, and then they kind of move on again throughout their roles of Michael being the fixer and Alice the one needing fixing, so to speak. So then we move on to, Alice having this big scene in which she falls through her glass shower door after washing down some aspirin with vodka, slaps her kid, and then falls through the glass door as she's trying to take a shower. And so she finally comes clean to Andy, or is honest with Andy, aka Michael, and says to him, I need help. I start drinking at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I don't quit until I go to bed at night. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night. And so, I'm scared, I'm anxious, all these things. And she's saying all this in the hospital bed. And, Michael you could tell his character is starting to feel guilty and maybe even a little uncomfortable. Wow, you drink a quart of vodka a day. Michael is saying to her, how come I didn't see this? I'm wishing I could add some of this movie video in here, but I don't have the rights. So anyway, he's saying, how come I didn't see this? So again, wanting to fix this, feeling guilty. How did this happen? And then also, which is good for Alice, and I guess some respects, he's gone most of the weeks because he's a pilot, and so she's home alone, and she has plenty of opportunity to keep this under wraps. All right, let's go on to what I feel like is their first major fight, and really a pivotal fight in the movie. And this is when Alice is telling Michael, he can't continue to play the role he's been playing since they got together. And she's saying, my home environment maybe isn't the best place for me. And of course, Michael is full of rage at this point, saying, how could your home environment not be good enough? Is it the rug? Is it the couch? Is it, and then finally he goes, is it me? Am I the reason that your home environment isn't working for you? And then, it's a very emotional scene, but Alice is basically telling him, in order for her to get better, she needs to start taking care of herself. And thus the roles that they've been playing up until this point have to change, right? She's doing all this work. By the way, she just got out of detox, 30-day detox. So she's gotten out of detox. She's doing all of this work. And, Michael's sort of on the sidelines saying, what am I to do here? How can I help you? And she's saying, I got to figure this out. And he's not understanding this. This is a new role for him that he's not ready to take on yet. I don't think he knows how to take this new role on without help, right? Without a third party saying, hey, this is what's going on here. That leads us to our Al-anon scene. And so right before Michael goes to Al-anon, he's in therapy with Alice, couples therapy, and he's basically talking about Al-anon as being a bunch of people who just feel sorry for themselves. So he doesn't have a high opinion of Al-anon, and I, for one, think that Al-anon is a great way for families to get support in that familial context. So anyway, so he So he ends up going to Al-anon, and he talks about, he speaks for the first time, and he says, I've been coming here. This is him talking. I've been coming here for 4 months, and this is the first time I've talked. And he's there, and he's saying, that basically his life has been centered around Alice. And now that it's not, he just kind of looks at her from afar and, is thinking, what did I do wrong? And again, there's that compulsion to want to fix things, but you can tell that he's in the right place. He's in a place that is, people are around him that have gone through the same things he's going through and have walked that walk. And so, Al-anon or any of those other familial recovery meetings, I think are so important. So important. Let's move on to the last clip of the movie, which I also think is quite beautiful. So Alice is 6 months sober. Right, she's got her 6-month chip, and they're separated at this point. And Alice tells him prior to going to talk at her 6-month meeting, I'd really love it if you come. So, Alice gives her narrative about her struggles with alcohol, talks about it in front of this group of people, accepts responsibility, which is, what this whole speech is all about, is her accepting responsibility. And then she comes off the stage, everyone's hugging her, great job. And then Michael's there, and he's talking to her in front of a group of people, sort of as if they don't know each other, and saying, I've tried everything to help my wife. I've tried it all, except really listening. And that's how I left her alone. And, I'm so ashamed of that, he says. And so, Alice, of course, is taking this all in and says, that's exactly what you need to tell your wife. You should tell her that. And so we end our Movies That Move Us episode today with just a recap about what it means to be in a family that is struggling with alcoholism. And, codependency is a word in our field that's thrown around a lot. And I use it here just as a frame of reference. I don't think that codependency is necessarily a great title because I think that, loved ones want to help loved ones, right? And so I don't want it to have this negative connotation necessarily, but just sort of be aware and have it be in the realm of thought for you. So as we recap, the movie is quite a tearjerker, but it really does a beautiful job of talking about alcoholism in the family and how, again, drinking, even subtly, can turn into something that you are not planning on it becoming. And, sometimes in order to get better, in order to work on yourself, you have to work on yourself apart from the person that has kept you stuck, and basically making it very easy for you to drink and to do whatever other behaviors that are unhelpful for you. And so really just identifying that and bringing it out into the open. Alice does it in a very heated way by telling Michael, he simply just cannot help her. He doesn't have the answers, and neither does she, but he definitely doesn't have them, is something that she says to him. So, just knowing that as you're getting better, as you're getting more healthy, the people that are in your life, those relationships are probably going to change. They have to change in order for you to heal and take more responsibility and learn to feel the uncomfortable. Learn to just get through it. Al-anon. Al-anon is great. As I said before, it's something that I recommend to people that come to see me, for the partner to go to, or maybe Al-anon for the kids. If there are other groups out there, that have a family component, I know more and more treatment centers are having family groups, at least monthly, if not more. And so those are really important. I know in Richmond, we have a family education program and I'll link to that in the show notes. That is quite a great program. And so just seeing what your role is in this addiction, what is it? Where are you? And do you need to take a step back and really reevaluate and just be there, be there for the person that's struggling. Listen to what they need. If they don't know what they need, then that's okay. Right? This is a very complex disorder. And so we might not always have all the answers that we need up front. It's a process of figuring out who we are and where we want to be, and listening for the person that's struggling with the disorder for what they need. What do they need? What are they asking for? And can you provide it? Also, are you getting your needs met as the partner that has had to go through all of this turmoil and had to pick up all the pieces? What are you doing to stay healthy? Are you giving yourself what it is you need? Do you even know what that is? So again, an Al-anon meeting might be a good place for you to start there. And then, just as we wrap up our Movies That Move Us episode, I just want to invite you to just be kind to yourself throughout this process. There's no one way to recover. And so chances are you'll have to try on several different hats. Maybe it's inpatient. Maybe it's therapy. Maybe it's group therapy. Maybe it's all of the above. But know that the family also needs to recover, not just the person dealing with the disorder. Okay, guys, I think that's it for episode 22. Don't forget to subscribe to the AIR Facebook closed group. All you have to do is click on the link and I'll put it in the show notes and send me a message and then I'll approve you. It's a brand new group and we're going to be doing some cool stuff in there after the new year. Okay, well, I will bid you farewell. Thanks, guys. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Atheists in Recovery podcast. For more great info and to stay up to date, head over to atheistsandrecovery.com.